straight to New York to speak to legendary Pink Floyd frontman Roger Waters about whether the actions of Theresa May, Donald Trump and Lenin Moreno against Assange are symptomatic of rogue states. Let's just start with what went through your mind when you saw the pictures of Assange being dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London by British police.
We'd been warned for several days because Wikileaks had got wind of the fact that they were going to actually do this. But to see them physically carrying him out, special branch, I suppose, and putting him in that van and driving him away was absolutely chilling. To think that the UK has become such a willing accomplice and satellite of the American empire that it would do such a thing in contravention of all laws, moral, ethical, and actual legal restrictions, is absolutely stunningly appalling and makes me ashamed to be an Englishman.
What do you think is behind the decision to let UK police in to the embassy to capture him? John Pilger said on this show that it would be a warning from history.
They bribed him with a promise of a 4.7 billion IMF loan. Also, they have plans to let Chevron start drilling for oil in Ecuador's most important national park.
Hello, I am from the British government with a fabulous announcement. But we have finally managed to arrest our most wanted criminal. No, the other one. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Once we're done, we'll extradite his skippy ass off to Virginia to face a grand jury. Cause we're America's... Yeah, baby. We'd like to thank all who aided us in this operation, especially the Ecuadorian government.
Hola, I'm from the Ecuadorian government, and I'm here to confirm that our new president is America's too. That is why he agreed to cancel Harry Hacker's political asylum and let pigs enter our embassy to arrest him. ¿Será que nos pueden dar nuestro crédito el FMI ahora, por favor?
Hello, I'm from the Australian government. Since Mr. Assange is our citizen, we feel compelled to state in the strongest possible terms that we're America's low. I'm from the US government. We're grateful to all others for handing over Julian Assange, who is wanted on charges of making us look like war criminals. Which of course we are. We have indicted the accused for the crime of helping his source to anonymously access documents in the public interest, otherwise known as good journalism. Journalists, of course, are not supposed to be good. They're meant to be piss-weak on questioning stenographers who publish what we tolerate. By extraditing a foreign journalist, we hope to send a clear warning to all journalists.
He is who the whole world should be focusing on him now. Because if we let the UK get away with allowing him to be extradited to the United States, and we allow the United States government at their whim to torture him and to detain him possibly for the rest of his life, we will have allowed them several steps further down the road to absolute tyranny.
It's Weekend Update with Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. WikiLeaks founder and reason I put tape over my computer camera, Julian Assange, was arrested at the Ecuadorian assembly in the embassy in London, and this dude did not go quietly. That is not how you're typically removed from an embassy. That's how you're removed from the F train. But it was so satisfying to see an internet troll get dragged out into the sunlight. Like, you can be Lord of Darkness on the internet, but when 7 cops have you pinned to the sidewalk, you can't be like, I summon the power of emails.
Well, it turns out Hillary Clinton is one of these people who wants to not only exalt whistleblowers, she doesn't want to help whistleblowers or give protection to whistleblowers. Hillary Clinton, it's been reported, she wants to not protect people like Julian Assange and people like Edward Snowden. She says she wants their prosecution. But according to WikiLeaks, she's called for for an assassination of Julian Assange. And Mediaite reports that one of their campaign managers will not disavow that she said that. Well, here's what they said. Here's according to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks, if you read this, it says They're talking about Julian Assange and the problem, and Clinton's State Department was getting pressure from President Obama and his White House inner circle, as well as heads of state internationally, to try and cut off Julian Assange's delivery of the cables. And if that effort failed, then to forge a strategy to minimize the administration's public embarrassment over the contents of the cables. Hence, Clinton's early morning November meeting of state top brass, who floated various proposals to stop, slow, or spin the WikiLeaks contamination. That is when a frustrated Hillary Clinton, sources said, at some point blurted out a controversial query. Quote, "Can we just drone this guy?" Clinton inquired, offering a simple remedy to silence Assange and smother WikiLeaks via a planned military drone strike. According to State Department sources, the statement drew laughter from the room, which quickly died off when the secretary kept talking in a terse manner. Clinton said Assange, after all, was a relatively soft target. Quote, walking around freely and thumbing his nose without any fear of reprisals from the United States. What did Chelsea Manning really reveal? That there is an official policy to ignore torture in Iraq. Officially. The Iraq war logs, that's what they're called, published by WikiLeaks, revealed that thousands of reports of prisoner abuse, thousands of reports of prisoner abuse and torture had been filed against the Iraqi security forces. Medical evidence detailed how prisoners had been whipped with heavy cables across the feet, hung from ceiling hooks, suffered holes being bored into their legs with electrical drills. So they would drill holes in people's legs. This is the United States. This is not Nazi Germany. This is not a concentration camp. Here's what else Chelsea Manning revealed. That the State Department backed corporate opposition to a Haitian minimum wage law. The poorest people in the hemisphere. Our government used its power for what? So a corporation could make more money. Minimum wage bill, and Hillary Clinton screwed them over on it. The bill's supporters had argued that the increase was justified in light of rising inflation and food costs that had led to widespread starvation.
Now think about this. In 2009, while Bill Clinton was setting up one of the family's shell companies in New York, in that same year, Hillary Clinton was at the State Department working with U.S. corporations to pressure Haiti not to raise the minimum wage to 61 cents an hour from 24 cents. Hillary was trying to keep 37 cents per hour out of the hands of destitute Haitians. But you know what? I say good for Hillary. Why should those garment workers make 61 cents an hour? It only takes them 3 hours at work to earn enough for a bus ride home. They're doing fine. It's never enough with them, is it? What's next? 62 cents an hour, huh? 63 cents? Where's it going to end? 64 cents? What are you, Dr. Dre? But seriously, multi-billion-dollar corporations like Hanes couldn't bear spending the extra money to have their stupid underwear made. The minimum wage hike that Hillary helped block would have cost Hanes $1.6 million a year, while they make $211 million.
According to the leaked cables, the U.S. delegation dismissed the proposed minimum wage increases as nothing more than a populist measure aimed at appeasing, quote, the unemployed and underpaid masses. This is why. Because the Democrats are now Republicans. And this isn't hyperbole.
Believe that. The truth of the matter is that my policies are so mainstream that, you know, if I had said the same policies that I have back in the 1980s, I'd be considered a moderate Republican. I mean, you know.
That's the first black president ever elected in the United States. That's the Democratic standard bearer talking a year or two after the biggest economic downturn in the history of our country since the Great Depression. And how did he fix it? He fixed it with moderate Republican policies. And he's bragging about it. He doesn't know to be, he's not embarrassed. He's not embarrassed. If my policies were in the 80s, I'd be considered a moderate. That's what I was saying. That we elected Barack Obama, we got Bob Dole anyway, because they're both owned by the corporations. They're both in bed. He just admitted it. He's not even hiding it. Like when he says that in public, that doesn't flip a switch, an alarm switch down at the DNC headquarters. Hey, the president just said his policies are Republican.
We should be the party of doing well. We should be a party of business.
Does this guy know that there's a Republican Party? There's already, it's called the Republican Party. Why else would you, so now we're supposed to have two parties that are pro-business? They already are, right? So the reason why half the country is poor or low income is because both political parties represent management. That's why. And it's about time we had a party that represents workers again, ladies and gentlemen.
And leadership. And it is very, very disturbing when I hear the millionaire or billionaire word. And I told them to stop it, knock it off.
I warned him, knock it off. Just like Hillary Clinton told Wall Street, cut it out.
I represented Wall Street as a senator from New York, and I went to Wall Street in December of 2007, before the big crash that we had, and I basically said, cut it out. Quit foreclosing on homes.
In 2015, Wall Street bonuses, not regular compensation, bonuses, 7 years after they were bailed out with the public purse, totaled, when I get this right, $28.4 billion. Total compensation paid to every single person in this country who earns a minimum wage, $14 billion. I'll stop there.
Aspirations.
Then are you worried that the Democratic Party is going too far to the left?
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you an MSNBC host. The Democratic Party's moving too far. The Democrats aren't far enough to the right. They only compromised and shifted to the right on living wages, education, tax cuts, the environment, healthcare, and war. But
so much so, it drives me nuts.
By the way, saying the Democratic Party is too far to the left is like saying Kevin Spacey is too apologetic. You know what I'm talking about? Come on. I know I already hit that joke earlier, but it's still solid.
So it would make me quit the party. And I've made it very clear, I'll cut your money off.
Yeah, I'll cut your money off, and like a good trust fund teenager, listen. Yes, the Democrats listen. You know what Bernie Sanders says? I'll go to the people. I will raise $1 billion, $27 at a time. And you know why Bernie picked 27? Because that's his Social Security number. He's old. It's funny. It's okay, he's old. Does he have more to say, this guy?
and others will do the same. We've had enough.
We've had enough. I've had enough of this. I have $1 billion. And I can't tell the government what to do. I have had enough of this. I will move somewhere where I can tell it. I will go to Barbados and buy that and stick it right in your face.
I am a CEO, and I am tired of nobody in politics looking out for my interests.
See if there's any more.
Okay,
We need a new brand.
And what is that brand? Because right now there is an opportunity. If Democrats lose, for example, in the state of Virginia, if that isn't a wake-up call that the Democratic leadership needs to get together and say, we've got to find a middle ground. Because if the Democrats continue to go far to the left, you've got that whole group in the center that aren't going to go the way of Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. And they're going to fracture the party even more.
It's fractured.
Really? So the corporate Democrats, it wasn't a big rout for the corporate Democrats. It was actually the fuck won that election. They got a guy in Philadelphia who sued the cops and is a Black Lives Matter lawyer. He's now the DA. So it's just weird how they talk about the brand. Watch this.
Fractured. It's broken. We need a new brand.
We need a new brand. That's what hey, you know what? The problem isn't the Democratic brand. It's not like you guys invented the world's greatest candy bar and you named it Cancer. You're the Democrats. You don't represent anybody except the same people the other party represents. They have a branding problem, Mike. They have a branding problem.
It needs to be simple. Keep it simple. Tax reform. Keep it simple. Infrastructure. No bumps in the road. What more do we have to say?
I don't know. Maybe you could say shit. Universal health care, Medicare for all, free college, a living wage, fight for 15, card check, strong unions with you.
They need to have a new brand created.
A new brand created.
Is the Democratic Party in worse shape than Republicans?